So let's settle our bodies and minds as much as we can, which means let's find a good posture, plenty of support for our backs. Upright is good. That's optimum if we can manage that. With shoulders level and relaxed, not pulled back, but not hunched either. Head tilted slightly forwards, downwards. If you're a beginner, then usually eyes closed is easier. But if you find it through your experience to have the eyes open a little bit is good, then that's excellent also. Arms by the side of the body, but with a gap between the main torso and the arms to allow air to circulate. Hands relaxed in the lap or on the knees or thighs. Then also make sure that you're not tensing in the muscles of the face. Very easy to tense in that area, around the eyes, around the jaw. And you may also notice some tension anywhere in the body, of course, solar plexus, chest, that's fine. Main point is to be aware, to have a sense of stillness, a sense of being relaxed, but also very aware and alert. So if we're alert, aware, we can just gently bring awareness to that part of the body that feels tense. And just that act of gentle awareness will help. Not that we are trying very hard to do anything, but simply the awareness of it. And we can also be using the breath skillfully, which means we can allow there to be a sense of letting go with the out breath. So every time we breathe out, that's actually a chance to just let go and relax, but not the relaxation of over casualness or sloppiness, you know. It's connected with the whole practice of being aware in the context of making friends with ourselves, and also in the context of what we've been looking at the last few weeks, which is the immeasurables. Immeasurable equanimity, immeasurable loving kindness, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable sympathetic joy. So you could say that as we relax with the out breath, it's connected with all of those four qualities. Equanimity, it helps us generate a sense of letting go, a balance, a calmness, which is essential for equanimity. When we let go with the out breath, there's also a sense of kindness involved with that, sense of reaching out as well as relaxing, which is an act of kindness. It is also an act of compassion because it reduces the tension, it reduces suffering, reduces tightness, uptightness, which is one of our main problems. In fact, sometimes it's interesting to have keywords that can cover a lot of ground. So we have words like suffering, dukkha, spaciousness, kindness. And this word uptight is a very interesting word. It can cover a lot. We suffer because we're uptight, we're tight, we're holding on, craving. The Buddha, in some of the teachings, craving simply is given as the second noble truth, truth of the cause, origin of suffering, the origin of unsatisfactoriness, origin of dukkha, sorrow, is holding on, is uptight. So as we breathe out, you see, and relax with the out breath, it's all connected with letting go. reducing the craving, the grasping, the tightness. And we could say it's obviously then also connected with sympathetic joy. When we can relax in that way, with the out breath, we might find ourselves very much more in tune, actually, not only with certain other people, or with animals who naturally often tend to be less uptight than us, unless they're, in some kind of big territorial dispute, dogs or something. But generally, animals are less uptight, they're more open and honest. You might have found that. And also, we might find ourselves more open to the beauty around us, nature, other people, whatever. That can only be really appreciated when we relax and with the out breath. When we're uptight, it's very hard to appreciate things, actually. We always see the defects. You may go into a beautiful space, but you will recognize the defects. Or you'll say there are too many leaves on the path. They should sweep up the leaves, that kind of mind. So if we're open and relaxed, letting go, we're much more easygoing with ourselves and with others, which does not mean being stupid, obviously. We're not letting go of wisdom or clarity. Anyhow, I thought I would relate this letting go with the out breath to the practice. Nothing is disconnected. All the practices are connected in some way or other, obviously. Just like it would be foolish to say that the top part of the skull is somehow not connected with the endmost bones in your toe. Of course they're connected. Not directly, maybe. So everything we can see is kind of depending on other things. So to repeat, a sense of stillness in the body, a sense of relaxation, not uptight, and together with that sense of being very awake, very alert. The Dhammapada, basic, very basic, wonderful teachings in the Dhammapada. Basically, a lot of it is saying that awareness is the path, is the light of the path. Lack of awareness is the path of death, spiritual death. Lack of awareness. That makes sense on many levels, doesn't it? Physical level, mental levels, any level. If we neglect ourselves, if we neglect other people, if we neglect, you name it, if we neglect anything, then there are problems, right? So to be aware is very important. Starting here with how we sit and how we arrange, if you like, the furniture of our mind. Are we creating space or clutter? What are we doing? So we can uplift ourselves. We can afford to do that. We're human beings. We're breathing in and out. We have some understanding. Must have to be here. We must have some understanding that life is not just about surviving. not just about eating, sleeping, and reproducing the species. That's all very essential, but it's not the only thing. We're aware of impermanence to some degree, all of us, just so critical and useful. Prevents a lot of useless hopes and expectations. Prevents disappointment when things change, don't turn out the way it was planned. And if we really have been investigating, or if we are fortunate enough to have the, what should we say, the imprints on our minds, then we may even realize there is really nothing inherently to complain about. There is no solid I to be cozied, to be defended, to be protected. We don't need to be so uptight about name and fame, praise and blame, and all of that. There's a spaciousness. We're not trying to hold on to ourselves all the time, and we're not comparing ourselves as a result. We're not comparing ourselves with others all the time. If there's a sense of spaciousness of the self, not any kind of solid, independent, heavy quality, uptight quality. If that's not there, everything is much more relaxed, much more enjoyable. So as we sit, already what we've said is part of the motivation, because the compassion motivation, I mean, because when we look at the situation, when we see ourselves and how other beings are existing, are living day to day, then how can we not feel some sadness, some deep sense of dissatisfaction, seeing how wretched many people's existence is? And I don't just mean on a physical level, I'm talking mentally. Constant discomfort, constant restlessness, constant anxiety, seeking, constant wanting, no peace in the mind, no peace at all. Disturbing one another due to that lack of peacefulness. It's not enough to have lack of peace. It spreads. We disturb other people. Like I might be disturbing you now, too many words. So we disturb people with endless chatter, with useless actions, some very harmful actually. And then we have all kinds of unwholesome thoughts and superfluous thoughts, which only create more garbage. It's not like we are storing poisons. It's not like we're storing poison canisters in our house. We may just be storing all sorts of rubbish, newspapers and empty cartons. And it just takes up so much space. And there's less room for beauty, other qualities, other mental furniture. So there's a sense of tremendous sadness and wish, aspiration that how wonderful it would be if others were free of suffering and its causes. And we're getting an idea of what the causes are. This relentless, uptight attitude. People are so uptight, so wound up, aren't they? Aren't we? So we don't even let people talk. We don't know how to listen. in such a hurry. We don't know how to appreciate ourselves, appreciate others, appreciate beauty, appreciate also what other people may be going through. We just are too speedy to notice. We may notice certain things like they have a stain or a hole in their shirt, but we don't notice, how they appear to be. How are they feeling? What could one possibly do to relieve their anxiety or pain? So anyway, if we slow down and pay attention, then that can be very good, I think, for our motivation. We can rejoice in that which is going well, and there is a lot going well in the world, of course. But we can also feel this sympathy, sadness, and compassion for those who are tying themselves up in knots. So I think I'm going to engage in this session, whatever, by listening, reflecting, meditating, discussing, all for the purpose of untying the knots of the mind, helping others to also be free of all their mental garbage, the destructive qualities, and so we can develop more calm, clarity, kindness, clarity, insight. When we see clearly, we can navigate life more clearly, can't we? Properly. Just like if our windscreen is clean, we can navigate the roads much better than if it's covered with dirt or raindrops and the wiper is not working. So let's experiment with sitting quietly for a little while, being aware of breath. Not the word or the idea or the visual of the word breath on a page, but the actual sensation of the breath as it enters and leaves the body through the nostrils, or it might be the mouth if your nostrils are blocked, but through the nostrils is good if they are clear. So being aware of each in-breath, each out-breath, a sense of letting go with the out-breath, a sense of spaciousness and calm with the out-breath. And the in-breath happens naturally. Thoughts come, totally fine, totally obvious they're going to come, nothing, no surprise. But we don't get involved with them. We don't make a big story. We recognize, let go, come back to the breath. Relax with the out breath. We get tired, especially if we're beginners, after 2 or 3 minutes, stop, take a little break, and then start again. Let there be good awareness, good attention to the breath. And don't allow the mind to get totally caught up in some story from the past or fantasy about the future. Just stay with the breath in the body as you sit on the cushion or chair. So be here now. Welcome everybody online and welcome everybody here. Okay. So before we go on with some more material, is there any feedback on this practice we just did? Or on any aspect of what I said? as part of the motivation. Feel free to give some feedback or whatever. So everything is clear enough for now. Okay, that's good. I have some things to share, and then so maybe a few more things to say, and then we can see if there's some discussion after that. But actually, I can understand people preferring to be quiet. There's so much noise otherwise, isn't there? So much sound, so much talking. No wonder some people really enjoy the silence of 10-day retreats, where there's, I think, very little talking on the Goenka retreats. Of course, the only problem with something like that is that if we're not careful, then our mind can be churning out all kinds of stories and fantasies and plans and dwelling on all kinds of past experiences, mishaps, and engaging in a lot of aspirations, expectations. So a lot of conceptuality can be happening. Not that it is in itself bad. I'd like to read a passage from a very useful book that has come out recently. Useful is not useful like a spade is useful. I mean, it's very good. It's very good book. Why We Meditate, by someone who's in the forefront of the emotional intelligence and so forth movement, Daniel Goleman, together with Sokni Rinpoche, which some people may not have heard of. He's the elder brother of Mingyur Rinpoche, whom you may well have heard of, who is quite very, he's there on media a lot, Mingyur Rinpoche, and teaches tremendous amount all over the world. Okay, so this book, Why We Meditate, this came out not so long ago, last year. And so we're going to investigate what I mentioned we would last session, if you remember, nowness, this quality of now. And we'll look at some different perspectives on it from this book, as well as from Trungpa Rinpoche, all the while remembering we have to relate all this with our own experience. It's no use if it's unrelated to our experience, what we go through. It's not, of course, it's not academic exercise. And this, they're relating it to a kind of meditation also, where we are not distinctly taking a particular object to focus on. So one wouldn't be taking the breath, or in terms of analytical meditation, we wouldn't be taking death and impermanence as an object, or suffering, or karma, or precious human life, or love and compassion, or ultimate nature of reality, dependent arising. We wouldn't be focusing on any of those wholesome objects. There would just be a sense of being present. Okay, so this is what they say about it. We don't have to settle with any kind of anchor, any kind of object as an anchor, but we just settle with a sense of nowness, just being present. Awareness, obviously, being present, allowing whatever's happening to happen while remaining undistractedly aware in the present moment. That word aware, again, be aware, be awake, alert, attentive. All the words beginning with A there. So what kind of perspective are we cultivating here as we do this? We're cultivating a clear, thought-free nowness. Thought-free. Yeah, like sugar-free, thought-free. And it's clear because this basic clarity of the mind that we all have, that is being recognized. And we are sustaining that basic clarity. Like the mind being a mirror, it can just clearly reflect whatever is there. It's thought-free. We call it thought-free because there is no deliberate act of pondering or thinking about something. A key point, of course, is that it doesn't mean that there will be no thoughts popping up at all. That is well nigh impossible for us, right? But it means the practice itself is not deliberately an act of thinking or analyzing, as it is with those other meditations I mentioned, right? That death is definite, time of death is indefinite. You know, what's going to help me at the time of death? You know, that's a lot of thinking. There's a lot of analysis there, right? Which is very useful, but we're not doing that here. Thoughts are allowed to pop up naturally and subside naturally, like sounds or clouds in the sky or bubbles on water. But the perspective or the view we are trying to sustain isn't discursive thought. It's not analytical, discursive thought. It's just naturally clear, thought-free awareness of nowness. Now, that's a very important sentence. Might be helpful to unpack a little bit, even if we don't have much experience of it. You know, sometimes these simple sentences, there's so much there, right? It is just a naturally clear, thought-free awareness of nowness. This seems to be saying that actually, naturally, our mind is clear, has a sense of presence and awareness of nowness. One very good example that one of our elder teachers in the organization gives is Venerable Dondrup, who used to be a school teacher. And so he gives the example of, he teaches or has been teaching mainly in Australia. I'm not sure what he's up to now, but that's beside the point. He takes a jar of water, which is filled with a little bit of earth or sand, okay? And you, or it could just be a glass, but then with the glass you have to be careful. It doesn't spill out. And then he shakes it. He shakes this glass, which has sand or earth in it. Now, if you imagine what happens when you do that, the water does not, you cannot see through. It is not clear. It becomes filled with the particles of sand or earth, you know. And then he just puts it down on the table. Then he puts it down on the table after shaking it vigorously and all of this activity. And it's quite fascinating to watch, and you can space out on that. But then he puts it down. And then what happens? Naturally, the particles come, you know, subside. They sink to the bottom, and the water becomes clear. The point being that water, by nature, it's naturally clear. It's naturally clear. The surface of a pond can naturally reflect very amazingly and beautifully the surrounding trees, mountains, clouds, whatever there are, buildings. just clear reflection, when there are no ripples, when it's not being stirred up, right? Normally our mind is in a state of being stirred up. Very stirred up, slightly stirred up, moderately stirred up. It's all there, it's happening, right? So when we just let go, relax, don't try to do anything anymore with our mind, with our discursive mind, then what happens? There's a naturally clear, thought-free awareness of nowness, the now, which is just a word meaning, again, another word, what is happening in the present. The unfindable present. Upon analysis, nothing is findable. One way of analyzing, nothing is truly findable, solidly, this present moment, where is it? It's gone, Same with everything, apparently. We cannot impale reality like we could, we think, some people collect butterflies, impale them with a pin and put it in a frame. Can't do that. Everything is all the time moving, changing, fluid, going in and out of existence hundreds of thousands of times a second, to quote that scientist who was investigating phenomena in a so-called bubble chamber. Things go in and out of existence at a phenomenal vibration. So anyway, I'm just trying to show that these are just words which are pointing at something. What the Zen people say, finger pointing at the moon. The finger pointing at the moon is not the moon itself. We're just kind of pointing in a particular so-called direction. So thoughts can and will pop up and dissolve as a part of nowness. This present, there's an English word I can't remember. It's kind of ineffable, inexpressible present, which is not really present. So-called present, so-called, that's good, so-called present. Just like a car or a chariot or a bicycle, so-called car. Because if we try and search for the real car, we don't find a real car. We find parts. We find parts of parts, parts of parts of parts. We find spaciousness. We find things going in and out of existence. But we call it a car very validly because it's not a camel, it's not an elephant. It has four wheels on it. It performs the function of transporting us from A to B. So thoughts can and will pop up and dissolve as a part of nowness. You might think, oh, well, aren't we supposed to be discussing, weren't we looking at equanimity? Yes, of course. This is a part of equanimity. Makes the mind very calm and clear and therefore more able to not create a big hullabaloo about friends, enemies, and strangers. Because we could also, relate it to the fact that everybody has this quality of awareness, potentially. It's another thing that we're all uptight and going around in circles. That's another matter. But we all have this thought-free, clear awareness potential of nowness. Now, the authors very kindly and necessarily go on to say, remember that it's completely normal to constantly get distracted when we begin to work with the mind in this way. Thank you. I'm glad they said that. It's perfectly normal. We shouldn't think we're abnormal. But we don't need to get dramatic when we get distracted. Just gently bring the mind back. We don't need to judge ourselves, don't need to finish any of those thoughts that we started, like a thought process. Once you get onto Google, hard to get off Google. You have to just let go. Let go of the thought and come back to what? To thought-free awareness of nowness. Maybe we need to write these things down and pin them on our kitchen boards, on bathroom doors, wherever. Don't need to judge ourselves, don't need to finish any of these thoughts. As soon as we notice we're distracted, then actually we're already mindful again. So we can just bring the mind back. We don't need to believe our thoughts, that I'm just a bad meditator, maybe other people can do this, I just can't. These thoughts are normal, but they're not true. If judgments come up, feelings of failure, or wanting to give up, try to handshake them. It's fine to alternate handshake and settling. We may have to bring the mind back hundreds of thousands of times. So since we're creating a new habit of the mind, it takes diligence, patience, repetition. That's interesting. Diligence, patience, repetition. I would say our culture is opposed to all these three words, these three. Rather than diligence, what would we say? Instead of patience, of course, we have impatience. Repetition, we want novelty. We want novelty. We want something new regularly. We might feel very impatient that we have to wait a couple of years for the next upgrade in the smartphone that we want or whatever. So we're constantly in search of something new or novel, artificial. Instead of diligence, what do we have? There's a kind of carelessness, sloppiness, restlessness. I mean, I'm talking about myself, but maybe other people can relate to this. There's a sense of not being present, not being diligent, even a kind of irresponsibility, irresponsible, negligent, yes, not diligent, negligent. Yeah, just not there, not present. And therefore careless, yes, careless is a good word. In the hands of a good author, certain phrases can be very powerful. I'm just reminded, for those of you who've ever read Scott Fitzgerald, in one of his books, he's the guy who wrote Great Gatsby, the film, you may have seen him. So he writes in one of his books, he's talking about certain kind of people who are living in the fast lane, and they're kind of selfish people. They're just living for themselves and for sensation and for gain. And in one sentence, he kind of says at one point, they're careless. They were careless people. They just, did what they did for themselves, got what they want, and they kind of spat out other people. They didn't care about other people. Anyway, so careless, yeah. So here we're creating a new habit, diligent, patient, and repetitive. Repetition isn't necessarily bad. We repeat many actions regularly, which are essential for our health. Going to the toilet, brushing our teeth, drinking water, eating food, so many things. Hopefully getting some exercise. So at first, of course, we can't stay with the object, whatever it is, more than a few seconds. Normal, that's normal. Slowly, our ability to be undistracted can get longer and longer. And at a certain point, we might become one-pointed. As a kind of unification happens in the mind. And it also becomes flexible. Our mind becomes flexible and pliable. We can then apply it however we want. It's no longer our master. It means we're no longer under the power of any old thought or sensation or feeling that comes up in the mind, which is often the case now. We go up and down depending on what's coming up in our minds. The mind has found its own independence and own stability. It's not so much dominated by other factors. If we want to place our mind on something, then we can. If we want it to shift to something else and stay there, we also can do that. So what better act of friendship is there than that, in one way, for our own mental peace, calm? What better than to have a mind that we can use, as a good tool? It's like you're using a machine or something that works. You want to cut something, and how frustrating, I don't know if you had this experience, to have blunt scissors or blunt knife that cannot cut the bread properly. If you don't buy sliced bread all the time, if you buy good bread, then you have a knife which cannot cut the bread, it's kind of a drag, right? Of course, you can tear it off old-fashioned style and, dunk it in melted butter and, ruin your liver. But it's nice to be able to cut bread the way you want. So you need a good knife. So if we don't have a good mind that is able to be stable and focused and is patient, diligent, and has engaged in creating a good habit of mind through certain wholesome, repetitious acts, if we haven't done that, then we're in trouble. The mind then gives us so many problems. You get up in the morning and already become the prisoner of certain patterns of thinking. First thing in the morning, we can make ourselves feel lousy through not being attentive, not being aware, not going through certain positive, repetitive acts. Yeah. किनको? अच्छा, तो क्या करें? आप अनुवाद करेंगे? अच्छा, अंग्रेजी बिल्कुल नहीं बोलते हैं। हाँ जी? कभी स्कूल नहीं गया। He hasn't been to school. स्कूल नहीं गए, अच्छी बात है। स्कूल ने बहुत से लोगों के दिमाग को बिगाड़ दिया है, लेकिन हाँ, आजकल अंग्रेजी बोलना शहरों में तो थोड़ा ज़रूरी हो गया है। क्या कीजिएगा? आप कहाँ से आए अभी? बिहार का हूँ, लेकिन दिल्ली में ही रहा काफी सालों से। लोगों के घर काम किया। आप बैठिए आराम से, आप नीचे बैठ सकते हैं। हाँ। कहाँ से आए बिहार में? समस्तीपुर का हूँ। समस्तीपुर। हाँ, मेरे पिताजी बचपन में छोड़ के चले गए थे ना, तो पढ़ाई लिखाई हुआ नहीं, मेरी माँ काम नहीं कर सकती थी, तो जब से वो संभाला तब से काम ही करते आए, लोगों को घर में कोठी में खाना वाना बनाना है। बिहार तो बहुत जा चुका हूँ, गया जिला। हाँ, गया तो बुद्ध भगवान का वो है जी। ठीक है, तो थोड़ा अनुवाद करेंगे। ध्यान और ऐसी चीज़ों के बारे में बात कर रहे थे कि अपने साथ दोस्ती कैसे किया जाए, मतलब अपने को कैसे, अपने दिमाग को कैसे समझा जाए, अपने को क्या समझा जाए, कैसे समझेंगे अपने को, आखिर हम लोग हैं क्या, ये क्या है जो हम व्यक्ति बोलते हैं, पुरुष बोलते हैं, ये है क्या? और इस तरह से देख रहे हैं क्योंकि इसके पीछे ये विचार है कि अगर हम अपने को नहीं समझेंगे अच्छी तरह से और अपने साथ दोस्ती नहीं करेंगे अच्छी तरह से, तो फिर दूसरों के साथ दोस्ती करना मुश्किल हो जाएगा, असंभव हो जाएगा, है ना? और हम लोग अपने को नहीं पहचान रहे क्योंकि बहुत से ये बहाने हैं, समय नहीं है, हाँ, लापरवाही है, हाँ, धीरज नहीं है, बड़े जल्दीबाजी में हमेशा हैं हम लोग, है ना? लट्टू जैसे घूमते रहते हैं, हाय हाय मचाते हैं, तमाशा करते हैं, तो एक जगह स्थिर रहने का मौका ही नहीं मिलता, तो अपने साथ दोस्ती कैसे करेंगे? तो पगला जैसे घूम रहे हैं संसार में। बुद्ध ने तो यही बोला, शक्कर खा रहे हैं ना, शक्कर तो खाए करेंगे, खाते रहते हैं। तो इसको बंद करने के लिए, इस चक्कर को, ये बहुत ही जहर जैसा चक्कर और हानिकारक चक्कर को के घूमने का रोक कैसे किया जाए, वो है सतर्कता, ध्यान। अवेयरनेस को क्या बोलेंगे? व्हाट्स अ गुड जनरल वर्ड फॉर अवेयरनेस हिंदी में? अवेयरनेस, सागर भाई? Aware. I should know this. जगे रहना, to be aware. अजीर जी? हाँ, एहसास, spelling in English? Not एहसास, I don't think so. Hold on, let me, who's helping me online? Ajir ji, you know this, we've done this together, I've just forgotten this basic word. Let me, what is the basic word for awareness in Hindi? Chalo ji, all you educated people, what is the word for awareness? हाँ, जागरूक, जागरूक रहना,
जागरूकता,
जगे रहना, जागरूक रहना, है ना? जागरूक, जग जाओ, अपने नींद से जगो, जागो, 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 है ना? समस्तीपुर में यही बोलते हैं, क्या बोलेंगे? अगर कोई सूतल है तो क्या बोलेंगे? हाँ, उठ जाओ तो है, हाँ, उठ लई, उठ लई, जागो, उठ लई। यानी समस्तीपुर वाला ऑनलाइन आप समझ जाएंगे कि क्या बोला जा रहा है। तो डू वी हैव we all Hindi speakers online pretty much, I suppose. Yeah. Jan is not here from Australia. Kelvin maybe doesn't know. Kelvin, you are from Singapore, maybe? Anyway, so I was just explaining some of the basics to a Hindi speaker here. I'm muted? No, you're not muted, Naveenji. If you want, you can. Participants can unmute themselves.
okay.
So, and I'm not muted. तो जागरूक रहना है, क्योंकि बुद्ध ने बोला जागरूकता का रास्ता ये आपको ले जाएगा बोधि तक, निर्वाण तक, सम्यक संबोधि तक। और जागरूक नहीं रहिएगा तो वो मौत का रास्ता है, आध्यात्मिक मौत का रास्ता है। तो जागरूक रहना, ठीक है। नवीन जी, कुछ कहना था आपने? कुछ कहना था? Kelvin, yeah, I presume you're from Southeast Asia, from a Chinese. Chinese is your first language? From Singapore, okay, yeah. So
Kabir ji, I was trying to say satark. I don't know why I'm not able to speak, but that's fine.
हमारे बिहारी दोस्त को अंग्रेजी थोड़ा समझना पड़ेगा, सीखना पड़ेगा। कितने साल हो गए दिल्ली में?
काफी साल हो गए।
कहले नहीं
30 साल हो गए।
30? हाँ। कहले नहीं सीखे?
मौका ही नहीं मिला सीखने को। सीखना पड़ेगा, मुझे लग रहा है आप कह रहे हैं तो सीखना पड़ेगा।
सीखना पड़ेगा, हम लगा देंगे किसी को आपके साथ, सागर भाई या कोई आपको सिखा देगा।
ठीक है बोलते, मैं सीखूंगा।
जरा मेरा अच्छा है, हेलो गुड बाय तो हो गई, लेकिन उसके अलावा और भी अच्छा रहता है। एनीवे, सो अगर मौका मिले तो जीवन में एक कोर्स करा रहे हैं हम लोग धर्मशाला में, हिमाचल में, हिंदी में, 7 से 15 जून, अगर आपको मौका हो उस समय। बाद में आपको सूचना देंगे। तो ओके, सो interesting dilemma. One person doesn't speak Hindi and one person doesn't speak English. So they say one of the powers of a Buddha is to be able to speak speak and then everybody understands. It gets, why not? We have machines that do similar things. Why can't a Buddha speech be like that? It translates into whatever the person needs to understand. तो कहते हैं कि बुद्ध का वचन जो है ना वो एक टाइम बोलेंगे और अलग अलग लोग समझ सकते हैं, अलग अलग भाषा बोलने वाले समझ सकते हैं. बुद्ध का वचन का वो एक शक्ति कहिए, उसका गुण है जो कि वो स्पेक्ट्रम जैसे बहुत से भाषाओं में बढ़ सकता है. तो anyway, so any feedback now? Now that we know that our mind is naturally clear, thought-free awareness of nowness. तो कह रहे हैं, इनका कहना है कि जो मन जो है, चित्त जो है, वो अपने आप अगर देखा जाए वो तो क्लियर क्लियर होता है ना, जब हवा में कोई प्रदूषण नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, वो साफ है, क्लियर है. क्लियर को क्या बोलेंगे हिंदी में?
साफ ही बोलते हैं. साफ.
साफ इज क्लीन, क्लीन. लेकिन क्लियर मतलब, हाँ जी, हाँ,
बेदाग.
बेदाग. That means spotless, clear. Okay, I think a lot of us have to revise our Hindi. Anyway, वो एक तरह से स्पष्टता है मन में, लेकिन वो स्पष्टता नहीं जो सोचने वाला, लेकिन क्लियर दिखता है. क्लियर समझ रहे हैं ना? वो तो अंग्रेजी एक शब्द है, बहुत लोग बोलते हैं क्लियर, है ना? तो हिंदी में क्या है क्लियर?
अगर हम शीशा गंदा है उसको साफ कर देंगे तो बिल्कुल साफ साफ दिखेगा कि हाँ ये क्लियर दिखता है.
हाँ, साफ. लेकिन मन में क्या बोलेंगे? मन के लिए मन क्लियर है, क्लियर दिख रहा है.
शुद्ध, शुद्ध बोलेंगे कबीर जी.
शीशा जैसा है वो. एक there's a particular एक संस्कृत शब्द है जो बुद्धिस्ट संस्कृत शब्द है इसके लिए, लेकिन अभी मैं भूल रहा हूँ उसको. बाद में अजीर जी से पूछेंगे. अजीर जी पूछेंगे आपसे. Anyway, मन जो है अपने आप क्लियर है, बगैर विचार के है और जागरूक है. जागरूकता इसी क्षण में जागरूक है. यानी कि पिछले कोई चीज को याद कर रहे हैं या कोई आने वाले चीज के बारे में नहीं, अभी. So we're talking, I'm just translating that sentence into Hindi. Naturally clear, thought-free awareness of nowness. And remember, sometime back, several times we quoted the last sentence of Mingyur Rinpoche's wonderful book, In Love with the World, where he said, you know, everything we need is there, present, in this very present moment. Everything we actually need is here. एक लामा जी बोले हैं एक किताब में, एक लामा, बहुत ही मशहूर लामा, जो अपने बिहार, अपने मंदिर को छोड़ करके रात में भाग करके घूमने लगा, स्वामी जैसे, एक बहुत बड़े लामा. सोचे कि अब मैं अपने ये सब को छोड़ देता हूँ, जहाँ लोग हाथ पैर हमारे सब हमको मदद कर रहे हैं इतने लोग, मैं भागूंगा और अपने संभालूंगा बगैर पैसे के. थोड़ा सा पैसा लेकर के भाग गया वो अपने मंदिर से, बोध गया में, गया स्टेशन जाके वो निकल गया. वो एक किताब लिखे है, इन लव विद द वर्ल्ड, मतलब दुनिया से प्रेम. दुनिया, व्हाट्स इन लव विद द वर्ल्ड इन हिंदी? क्या बोलेंगे? हाँ, व्हाट्स द टाइटल इन हिंदी? इन लव विद द वर्ल्ड बोलिए ना, हिंदी अनुवाद. हाँ,
संसार से प्यार.
संसार से प्यार, नॉट संसार. हाँ,
दुनिया के प्यार में.
दुनिया के प्यार में. एनीवे, दुनिया के प्यार में उसने लिखा है, आखिरी सेंटेंस है कि जो भी आपको चाहिए, जो भी आपको चाहिए इसी क्षण में आपको मिल सकता है. जो आप चाहते हैं, जो भी खुशी वगैरह आप चाहते हैं, इसी क्षण में मिल सकता है. अभी दौलत की बात नहीं कह रहे हैं,
मन की शांति.
मन में आपको इसी क्षण में मिलेगा जो आपको चाहिए.
मन की शांति बेहद जरूरी.
अभी मिलेगा, कल नहीं, अभी मिल सकता है. लेकिन ध्यान, everything is available in this very moment, but obviously for that we have to slow down, pay attention to this so-called present moment with diligence, with patience. And what was the third word? diligence, patience, and having repeated that action. Practice. Practice करना पड़ता है ना? Practice in Hindi?
अभ्यास.
अभ्यास करना, अभ्यास, बार बार अभ्यास करना पड़ता है. या तो लेकिन हम लोग मानते नहीं हैं. We don't believe it. We can't believe everything we really need is here in this present moment. We can't believe it. हम लोग विश्वास नहीं करते हैं इसमें, क्योंकि टीवी पे कुछ और कहा जा रहा है कि आप खुशी के लिए ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, ये करो, वो करो, इस पार्टी को वोट दो, उसको गाली दो, ये खरीदो, वो मत खरीदो, you know, do this, do that, join this party, buy this, buy that. That's what the TV is telling us we need for our happiness. And here's this person saying everything we need for our happiness is present in this very moment of awareness. जागरूक होने पर, बेहोश होने पर नहीं, जागरूक होने पर इसी क्षण में सब कुछ मिल सकता है. Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing actually. Almost, it's like unbelievable. We don't have faith in that. हम लोग को अभी इसमें शायद विश्वास ना हो. हम लोग सोचते हैं कि बहुत कुछ चाहिए खुश होने के लिए. Let's discuss that. अब थोड़ा चर्चा हो जाए. Now we have something to discuss. You should be able to debate against this. Some people should use their powers of reasoning and intelligence to actually debate against what I said, against what the Lama is saying. You should have good reasons, or reasons why everything is not available in the present moment. It's a ridiculous, it's a monstrous proposition the Lama has made. बहुत ही भयानक, बहुत ही बुरा लामा ने बोला कि इसी क्षण में सब कुछ मिल सकता है. कैसे मिल सकता है? लोग में दुनिया क्यों भाग दौड़ कर रहे हैं? इतना ट्रेन का बुकिंग क्यों करा रहे हैं? यहाँ जा रहे हैं, वहां जा रहे हैं, भारत रेल को बहुत पैसा मिल रहा है, क्यों मिल रहा है? लोग इतना भाग दौड़ क्यों कर रहे हैं? अगर इसी क्षण में सब कुछ मिल रहा है तो भाग दौड़ क्यों कर रहे हैं?
बहुत बुरे हाल है, रोड में जाओ तो
अगर अनुवाद करता हूँ, why are we rushing around like crazy, buying tickets, feeding the coffers of Indian Railways, if everything is available in the present moment of awareness? Why are we rushing around like mad? बताइए, आप क्या कह रहे थे?
रोड में बहुत बुरे हाल है.
हाँ,
रोड में जाओ तो बहुत बुरे हाल हो जाते हैं.
रोड में?
हाँ, साइकिल चलाने से बहुत, कोई इधर से किसी को सब्र नहीं है.
हाँ, तो मत जाओ रोड पे. लामा कह रहा है एक ही जगह बैठ के पेड़ के नीचे अपने सांस को देखो, अपने को देखो, बस सब कुछ वही है. लेकिन हाँ, बीवी बच्चे कुछ फिर कहेंगे आपसे. You just sit under a tree doing nothing, then you may get a phone call from your wife or children. What the hell are you doing? And if you say, oh, I'm just enjoying thought-free awareness in the present, they'll send some people to get you. वो पुलिस या किसी को भेज देंगे आपको पकड़ने के लिए. Isn't it? So obviously we cannot forget our responsibilities to others. अपनी जिम्मेवारियों को भूल नहीं सकते हैं. वो तो है ही, दुनिया में रह रहे हैं आखिर. लेकिन कुछ कहा जा रहा है यहाँ जो कि हम लोगों को ख्याल में रखना चाहिए. Whatever, we need to keep in mind what these teachings are saying about the thought-free awareness in the present, which of course is not totally thought-free, but we allow thoughts to come and go. We don't get caught in them. विचार तो आएंगे, विचार आएंगे जाएंगे, लेकिन कहने का मतलब यहाँ है कि उनमें पूरा विश्वास करने का जरूरत नहीं है. पकड़ के खींच के एक विचार को ये बार बार हृदय में नहीं ले आना है. हम लोग आने दो जाने दो, आने दो जाने दो, बादल जैसे. या किसी ने बोला प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप खड़े हैं, बैठे हैं और एक मालगाड़ी आ रही है. मालगाड़ी आता है और इतने डिब्बे होते हैं ना, एक डिब्बा आ गया चला गया, एक डिब्बा आ गया चला. ये थोड़ी कि आप किसी डिब्बे के पीछे दौड़ने लगे नहीं, आप जानते हैं कि बहुत से डिब्बे आएंगे जाएंगे आएंगे जाएंगे, बस जाने दो. So just like the different carriages, different bogies of a goods train, which you're looking at as you sit on a railway station platform in India or anywhere, I guess, you don't start chasing after one of the bogies. You just allow the different bogies, or if it's a passenger train, the compartments to come and go, come and go. You just let them come and then they go. Another one comes and it goes like that. The other example is a general on parade. The troops are, the troops are marching and they come in front of the podium. The general salutes, the head of a particular section salutes, and then they move on. General doesn't start running after them. The next batch comes, he salutes, and they move on, and he lets them go. तो जैसे ही कोई जनरल अपने फौज जो है वो परेड में है, वो आते हैं, वो सलूट मारता है, एक हिस्सा चला जाता है, उनके पीछे थोड़ी दौड़ते हैं. दूसरा हिस्सा आ गया, सलूट मारो जाने दो, सलूट मारो जाने दो. बस ऐसे ही हम लोगों को कभी कभी विचार को देखना चाहिए. आने दो जाने दो, उसके पीछे ना पड़ें. पीछे पड़ेंगे तो बहुत तरह के मुश्किल हो जाएंगे. नहीं, विचार के पीछे पड़ेंगे तो डूब जाते हैं विचारों में. फिर बहुत अच्छा खासा क्षण को हम लोग बिगाड़ सकते हैं. जो शीशा में पानी रख करके थोड़ा मिट्टी हम हिलाते ही रहते हैं, कभी कभी उसको ठीक से आराम से बिठा के साफ नहीं होने देते हैं. हमेशा हिलाने में लगल हैं हम लोग. We're always caught up in shaking the mind. We need to let go of that. Very bad habit. Well, not bad, it's just a habit. But it's not useful. Not a useful habit. So you see, by shaking the bottle all the time, we're just torturing ourselves. Self-inflicted torture, damage. बार बार मन को हिला करके हम लोग अपने को नुकसान पहुंचा रहे हैं, अपने को टॉर्चर कर रहे हैं. What's to torture in Hindi?
It's प्रताड़ित कबीर जी, प्रताड़ित.
How many PhDs in the room? How many?
आपको परेशान करना.
वो तो है ही, परेशान तो है, लेकिन टॉर्चर कुछ और है ना. परेशान तो है.
प्रताड़ना.
परेशान in English is to trouble.
Kabir ji, torture can be pratarna.
Anyway, I'll have to
यातना देना.
Yeah, yatna is also.
So we torture ourselves. We're not making friends with ourselves. No hope of real equanimity, no hope of loving kindness, compassion, or sympathetic joy when we are engaged in self-destructive behavior all the time. How is it possible? So these four immeasurables are all very wonderful in words, but I'm wondering how close we can get to them if we don't even know how to work with the basics of our own mind. है ना? ये जो चार हम लोग कहते हैं, ब्रह्म विहार बोलते हैं इनको. इसके बारे में हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि कितना अच्छा होता अगर सब लोग अपने दुख और दुख के कारण से मुक्त होते. कितना अच्छा होता. मैं ही उनको अपने दुख और दुख के कारण से मुक्त करूंगा, मैं मुक्ति दिलवाऊंगा. और गुरु बुद्ध, हमारे गुरु लोग, हमको आशीर्वाद दीजिए ताकि मैं कर सकूं. ये है ब्रह्म विहार. तो इस तरह का ब्रह्म विहार तो एक सपना है. अगर हम अपने दिमाग को संभाल नहीं सकते हैं, पहले अपने बुनियाद बनाना है ना, तभी दीवार और छत बनेगा. बगैर बुनियाद के कैसे बनेगा? So we can't again construct any of these four marvelous immeasurable thoughts if we don't have this basic foundation in order. Our mind is like total a junction where the traffic lights have stopped working, then we're really in trouble. है ना? यहाँ जंक्शन होता है कई शहरों में, ट्रैफिक लाइट काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, तो कितना मजा आता है. कोई वहां से आ रहा है, कोई यहाँ से आ रहा है, बैलगाड़ी यहाँ से, स्कूटर वहां से आ रहा है, कोई बस आ रहा है. हाँ, पूरा फंस जाता है. मैंने देखा है कई जगह, दिल्ली में भी कभी कभी होता है,
मैंने भी देखा।
और फिर लोग अपने मर्जी से करते हैं, और वो साइड से आते हैं ना, साइड से आते हैं लोग, और फिर पैदल भी नहीं जा सकते हैं. Sometimes the traffic jams or traffic lights not working, dysfunctional traffic lights in India, you can't even walk. There's no place to walk through sometimes. Because people are parked, you see their cars and scooters in front of shops, so you can't even walk there. So that's what the mind feels like sometimes. कभी कभी किसी ने बोला एक बार कि मेरा मन एक बहुत खराब मोहल्ला जैसा है, अकेले मैं वहाँ जाना नहीं चाहता हूँ. So, you know, mind's a bad neighborhood. Don't like to go there alone. So we have to change that situation so that our mind becomes like something very beautiful, something very wonderful, spacious, kind, relaxed.
How to strike a balance between being calm and
चेहरे पे आप आराम देखते हैं दिल्ली शहर में. बहुत से बच्चों में, बहुत स्कूल के जाने वाले बच्चों पे बहुत होता है कभी कभी. स्कूल से जब निकल रहे हैं और चाट खा रहे हैं, आइसक्रीम खा रहे हैं, बातचीत कर रहे हैं, तो बड़े रिलैक्स लगते हैं. लेकिन बड़े लोगों को देखिए, बहुत परेशान, बहुत से लोग परेशान. क्यों परेशान? क्योंकि so saying that school children often in Delhi, you look at them when they come out of school, eating a snack or ice cream or talking with each other, they're very happy, very smiling faces. They're really having a good time. They're very relaxed. But you look at older people, then it's not the same situation. A lot of tense, unhappy faces. Not because they're good actors, you know, that's how they are. That's how they're feeling at that point. Of course, in one way we are actors, of course. But the show is often the director is somebody else. They're not in charge of the script. Anyway, it feels that way.
My office is actually next to a school.
Ah.
My office is actually next to a school.
Yes, that's right.
Every afternoon, little kids go to their buses. I'm often amazed by the volume of their goodbyes.
Goodbyes.
Their goodbyes. Every day, without fail, all of them in unison are saying, bye, bye, Parul, bye, Anita. They will call out to their friends every day because they know that's a certainty. They know that for now, they will not see their friend anymore. And it happens every day. So I often think to myself, wow, do I say goodbye to my colleagues in the same way? I don't think so.
तो ये नित्या जी कह रहे हैं, sorry, in English. खैर, आप समझ रहे हैं या नहीं? आप इनको समझाइए, मैं अंग्रेजी में. आप सागर, आप इनको बता दीजिए. It'll save time. So Nitya, in case you couldn't hear online, Nitya was saying that there's a school next door to where she works, and very high volume of sound when the children are leaving, saying goodbye to one another. They're really saying goodbye to one another with with a lot of verve, with a lot of energy, a lot of feeling, I guess you're saying. And it's not like that with the adults in her office. They don't say goodbye to each other in that way, you know. Maybe don't even say goodbye at all. They're just trying to sneak out of the office as quickly as possible. I don't know.
Present they are because they know for a fact, they are aware of that reality of now is goodbye time and I need to acknowledge it, you know. There is, just like you were saying about, you know, when they come out of school, they have their snacks or ice cream or meet their parents, and you can see the expression of that in their behavior and in their presence. Similarly, with the goodbye, it's such a simple yet powerful acknowledgement of the nowness of what is happening.
Okay, it's a simple and powerful acknowledgement of the nowness of what is happening, she says, about these children saying goodbye to one another every day at the end of school, which maybe we adults don't quite have that. Are you saying it's spontaneous or it's just a fixed reaction?
I sense that it's very spontaneous. spontaneous. There's so much feeling.
It is spontaneous, she says. A lot of feeling in it. It's not just some kind of rigid mechanical action because it's time. They are, yeah. Plus, if you just look at kids walking to the metro or just walking away from school, after school usually, but also going to school, but after school maybe more, they're so relaxed. चेहरे पर इतना मस्ती है, इतना आराम, इतना तनाव नहीं है. तो फिर देखते हैं कुछ सारे बड़े लोग अकेलापन, और या तो बिहार में देखता था बोध गया में लोग बात कर रहे हैं, हमें पैसा की बात कर, हमेशा आप कुछ पैसे की बात कर रहे हैं. अरे खुदा के बंदो, कुछ और भी तो है दुनिया में, लेकिन लगता है नहीं है पैसे के चक्कर है. So people are talking, oh, I found so much about money. I used to find in Bihar, of course, where I lived in Bodh Gaya, it's kind of, you could say, yeah, underprivileged. There is some poverty, obviously, but this constant talk about money, even people who obviously were okay, and being very caught up in that, right? That always used to strike me as unusual. कुछ कह रहे थे?
जैसे हमारे बिहार में सिर्फ दो चीज का वैल्यू दिया जाता है. दो चीज का वैल्यू दिया जाता है.
क्या?
एक बेटा होना चाहिए और दूसरा पैसा होना, जमीन और पैसा होना चाहिए, और तीसरा
जमीन, पैसा, बेटा,
बस दो चीज का.
रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान नहीं, और बीबी.
जब बेटा होगा और पैसा होगा तो अपने आप आ जाएगा.
So yeah, he's just saying how in Bihar so much emphasis on a son, having a son.
और चीज का कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. वहाँ पे कोई बीमार है, कोई मर रहा है, कोई फर्क नहीं.
Not so much value given to daughters, and of course land, and then money, especially money. So yeah, I think it speaks for itself what our friend from Bihar is saying. We're just caught up with those things, and we lose our thought-free awareness of the present moment. We lose the joy of life. We lose spontaneity, the childlike innocence that we see in certain great beings like Dalai Lama or Desmond Tutu. People, they had a kind of childlike, they have a childlike zest and infectious spontaneity, joy. Yeah, Dalai Lama ji और कुछ और लोग कभी-कभी एकदम बच्चे जैसे हैं, एक अच्छी तरह से. वो एक बचपना नहीं, लेकिन innocence, क्या बोलेंगे हिंदी में? Innocence in Hindi? हाँ?
मासूम.
Innocence. Did you say bathroom?
No, मासूम.
Masoom. So yeah, we've lost that innocence, and it's etched onto our faces. Jake.
Lama Zopa was here. He was doing his teaching, he was talking, and he was laughing very loudly, like a kid. And I really felt that I want to do the same. I want to laugh like that. I really want to laugh like that.
So Lama Zopa Rinpoche was here, according to Sagar. I missed that. Both guys. So he came down to the Gompa, where I'm sitting, and he was laughing a lot while he was teaching, laughing about something. And Sagar was thinking, I wish I could be like that. I want to be like that. Be able to laugh like that. Yeah. Good. Well, it's 12:30, so now I'm laughing because I'm looking forward to a South Indian meal with an old friend. So, yeah, there we go. Thank you very much for your presence. And yeah, you had your chance before. Now people are asking questions. If everything that is needed is in the present moment, then not only samsaric activity needs to be stopped, dharma activity also does not make sense. All activity doesn't make sense. Since seeking is seeking for something, that something is in the present moment available, then why seek? Correct. But is that diligence or virya, energetic activity, is one of the paramitas? Well, this is good homework for everyone. So what about dharma activity? Does that stop? What is dharma activity? That's a very good question. Do we just sit under trees enjoying awareness of the present moment? How to strike a balance between letting go and chasing? Very good question. Bholapan. What is bholapan? Someone is given bholapan. Is that also innocence? Bholapan. Thank you, Divs. Thank you, Divsji. Good. Well, two very good questions there, which is our homework. How to strike a balance between letting go and chasing. And also, all activity doesn't make sense. Since seeking is seeking for something, and that something is in the present moment available, then why seek? Maybe you, I don't know, maybe you seek in the present moment. I don't know. Good, very good, Kelvin from Singapore, and Divs from undisclosed. And where are you from, Divs?
I'm from Delhi.
Hello. Hello. Divs, are you there? Okay. Anyway, Divs is from somewhere.
I think
Delhi. Okay, very good. Thank you. So we have our homework.
Kabirji, I think
can't be
we have
answered
to
very
mute
easily,
you.
but we'll look at them actually on Monday, tomorrow, because they're good questions. Balance between letting go and chasing. भाई केंद्र हैं, ये सब बहुत लाभ पहुंचाएं लोगों को, हमेशा और भी लाभ पहुंचाएं. And may we develop more and more trust in ourselves, in our Buddha nature, in our ability to develop thought-free awareness in the present moment, together with the deep, intelligent, critical, analytical wisdom that can be generated also to develop very powerful analytical mind that can quickly see the lack of logic and lack of which can see through the wrong thinking that we engage in so often. विश्लेषण करने का भी शक्ति बढ़े, ये भी बहुत जरूरी है. बाकी जो बेकार तरह का सोच विचार है उसको हम लोग छोड़ सकें और एक मन में एक स्पष्टता और ज्ञान बढ़ा सकें. So just quickly an announcement there. Most likely will be a talk by Venerable Tenzin Priyadarshi on the 6th of May. 6th of May, it's not confirmed yet. And also on 26th of April, there may be a talk from His Eminence Situ Rinpoche. We're very much hoping Situ Rinpoche can visit us again. Possibly 26th April. Yeah. So anyway, there'll be more information on events as they become clear. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day.